Most of us hear the name Leonardo da Vinci and instantly picture a serene genius, a peaceful painter casually mixing colors in a quiet Renaissance studio. We imagine a life defined by soft brushstrokes and high society. But the historical reality of the 15th century is entirely different. Da Vinci was a man driven by a hunger for truth that sent him into graveyards at midnight to dig up corpses. He was a grave-robbing anatomist and a military engineer who spent his nights ripping apart the fabric of the physical world to see how it worked. He lived in a world suffocated by religious dogma, where scholars relied on ancient books and university degrees. Because he was born out of wedlock, the institutions of his time barred him from attending these universities or learning traditional Latin and Greek. With the doors to formal education closed, he was forced to abandon the theories of the past. He began building his own foundation of knowledge, using the physical world as his only classroom. He built his life around a single, uncompromising philosophy, sapere videre, which translates to knowing how to see. He believed that human eyes were the most accurate instruments in the universe, and that knowledge could only be claimed through direct, personal observation. If a celebrated textbook claimed a river behaved a certain way, Da Vinci rejected it until he could verify it. He would walk to the water, throw in pieces of wood, and spend hours watching the resulting currents to document the mechanics for himself. Looking at these sketches, you can see exactly how he documented the invisible physics of nature. He recorded the spiraling water vortices and noticed they behaved exactly like the twisting, curling physics of human hair. He realized that accurately painting the surface of the world was impossible without first dissecting the hidden mechanical engines running underneath it. At 30 years old, he moved to Milan and marketed himself to the city's ruler as a creator of machines. He presented himself as a military engineer, capable of designing nightmare weapons. This armored tank design is direct evidence of his active involvement in conceptualizing machines of war. Later, working for the warlord Cesare Borgia, his focus shifted. He began to treat military dominance as a problem of geometry. Mapping at the time relied on artists standing on a hill and sketching the town from the front. The results were essentially landscape paintings, distorted and unreliable for tactical use. Da Vinci threw that method out. He mathematically paced out the streets of Imola, measuring every angle and distance to create a layout based on data. The result is a precise, top-down geometric street grid that looks identical to modern GPS. He approached human conflict, urban planning, and physical space as raw geometric problems. By stripping away the visual noise, he proved that entire cities could be solved with mathematical precision. That exact same mechanical logic drove his anatomical studies. In these drawings, you can see how his midnight dissections treated human biology as an industrial system. The bones are drawn as structural levers, and the neck muscles act like high-tension cables supporting the weight of the skull. To understand the heart, he reverse-engineered it, building models from glass tubes and pumping water with grass seeds through them. As the fluid flows through the artificial valve, it hits the walls and curls back into a vortex, snapping the valve shut. His observation of this fluid dynamic was so accurate that it took the invention of modern MRI machines 5 centuries later to finally prove him right. He carried this obsession further when he met a 100-year-old man in a hospital. When the man died peacefully without illness, Da Vinci autopsied him to find a physical cause. He discovered the blood vessels had hardened and twisted, marking the first recorded medical diagnosis of arteriosclerosis. For Da Vinci, the human body possessed no divine magic. It was a tangible system governed by the exact same physical laws that dictate the flow of a river. The Mona Lisa functions as a physical archive of his research. Every detail on the canvas is a data point, distilled from decades of studying human optics, anatomy, and geology. Take the famous smile. That expression exists on the canvas because Da Vinci peeled the skin off cadaver faces in a morgue to map the exact neurological pathways and muscles that lift the human lips. He painted those lips using a technique called sfumato, which blends colors to create soft, imperceptible shadows. To perfect this, he boiled cow eyes to study the retina. He realized human peripheral vision processes blurs, while direct focus registers sharp lines. Because of this optical science, the smile seems to appear in your periphery and vanish when you look directly at it. Even the landscape behind her is a scientific statement. It visualizes his geological theory that mountains were once ocean floors, establishing that the Earth was far older than the biblical timelines of his era suggested. The world praises this painting for its beauty, yet lying right on the surface is a precise, calculated scientific blueprint, hiding in plain sight. His mind was operating centuries ahead of his peers, inventing helicopters and discovering Earthshine, the phenomenon where our planet reflects light onto the moon. But as this dense, chaotic notebook spread shows, that knowledge was documented entirely in backward, left-handed mirror writing. After he died in France, these fragile pages were scattered across Europe and lost. Because his scientific discoveries vanished from the public record, history remembered him exclusively as a painter. In his final years, a stroke paralyzed his right arm. Unable to hold a paintbrush, he refused to stop working. He sat in his room solving complex mathematical puzzles and sketching with his left hand. The very last entry in his notebook captures the reality of his existence. He is in the middle of writing out a geometric equation when the sentence abruptly stops. Below it, he simply writes, "I must stop. The soup is getting cold." He saw no boundary between art and science. To him, they were the exact same tool, used to decode the universe. His life is a reminder to shed accepted dogma, embrace the unknown, and relentlessly question the world right in front of your own eyes.